Because look at this. Space Force commander removed after saying Marxism is infiltrating the military. Here he is right here, Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer. And this was a couple years back, I believe. A lieutenant colonel in the Space Force has been removed from his post after he went on a podcast to claim that Marxism is invading the military, according to a report. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer was temporarily reassigned after going on a podcast and touting his book, Irresistible Revolution, Marxism's Goal of Conquest and the Unmaking of the American Military, according to military.com. This decision was based on public comments made by Lieutenant Colonel Lohmeyer in a recent podcast, a Space Force spokesman told the outlet. Lieutenant General Stephen Whitting has initiated a command-directed investigation on whether these comments constitute prohibited partisan political activity, the statement said. Now, Lohmeyer even said, he's like, I'm not trying to be partisan. It has nothing to do with politics. It's a simple truth. And he's right. It's not partisan. It's not. How is it related to Democrats? They're admitting that Democrats are pushing the critical race theory? Okay, it tends to be the more Democratic people that are trying to push this state-sanctioned racism, because that's what it is. They're trying to convince everyone that if you're a different race, you should be treated differently, and some races are better than others, and that's literally what it is. That's what they're pushing. Okay, and that's what he's talking about. Lohmeyer, commander of the 11th Space Warning Squadron at Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, got into hot water after appearing on the conservative podcast Information Operation last week. His book claims that neo-Marxist agenda has infiltrated the military. The diverse, inclusion, and equity industry and the trainings we are receiving in the military is rooted in critical race theory, which is rooted in Marxism, Lohmeyer told podcast host L. Todd Wood, military.com reported. He insisted that his book is not political, but rather a warning about the increased politicization of the armed forces, some of which he has said he's seen firsthand. Lohmeyer also took apparent issues with Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby, who he referred to only as a Pentagon spokesperson, claiming that Kirby has said there are too many white pilots in the Air Force and Space Force. If you want to provide that kind of messaging to your already struggling pilot force, you can already expect to see further retention problems, he said in the podcast. Kirby denied making the comment in a statement Friday. He absolutely said that. This department has an open door to any qualified American who wants to serve, he said. Diversity throughout the force is a source of strength. We cannot afford to deprive ourselves of the talents and the voices of the full range of a nation that we defend. But Lohmeyer said he's gotten thank yous from other active duty service members. Lohmeyer told military.com that he consulted with superiors as well as legal and public affairs officials about the book and was told he wasn't required to submit it for security and pre-publication review. My intent never has been to engage in partisan politics, he said. I have written a book about a particular political ideology in the hope that our Defense Department might return to being politically nonpartisan in the future, as it has honorably throughout history. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lohmeyer. You're absolutely correct. Okay? The military should be nonpartisan. Okay? And he wasn't being partisan. It wasn't introducing partisan politics. They are basically pushing state-sanctioned racism into our military now, trying to be racially diverse. That guy absolutely was talking about how there's too many white pilots. Are they qualified? Are they good pilots? That's the only thing that matters. Okay? And if some other racially diverse pilots come about, as long as they're good, good. Okay. Let's make sure that they're good pilots, not that they're the right skin color. Because flying a jet is something I always wanted to do, but is something that you should know what you're doing and be good at the job. Okay? If you're good at the job, you should do the job. And that goes across the board on all jobs. Okay? If you want to be a bass player and in a band and you're really good, it shouldn't matter what your skin color is. Shout out to my Discord. You know, if you want to be a freaking Air Force pilot. You should be able to fly a jet if you're good. Period. Oh, look at this. Space Force guy, I don't know what's CEO. Space Force CEO got a holiday call from Trump. Oh, interesting. It's funny how they add that in there. Oh, well, he got a holiday call from Trump. So clearly he's a Trump supporter. Clearly he's partisan. Okay, they're adding that context, and that's what they do. They add that context. Well, look, he's liked posts that are conservative, so therefore his book is partisan. It's Republican book. Or maybe he even comes out and says, I want the military to remain nonpartisan as it always has, as it should be. Okay? That's how it should be. So thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate you very much. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer, I salute you, sir.